that is the connecting piece. But
Welcome to another episode of Besties Building Brands, the podcast. We have another awesome guest with us today. We have Miss Charlisa. She is an entrepreneur. She is a hairstylist. She is a mom. She is a business coach. She is a superwoman like so many women we have on our show. I have her on the show because we share a common interest. We have children that are on the autism spectrum, and we're still out here trying to make a living, trying to do the best that we can, despite some of the obstacles that life has thrown our way. She is the owner of Chadowboxx Salon, Mylani by Chadowboxx Hair Care Products. I'm sorry. Her hair care products are vegan, which is dope because, you know, our skincare products that we promote on our show are vegan and organic. She has devoted her life to the empowerment of women in our community, which matches and aligns with our mission, our Kwanzaa 365 experience. And I'm excited to talk to her. Something that she put down when we were talking about coming on the show is that why babes shouldn't hustle but do business. So I'm excited to talk about that. And I'm going to bring her on the show now. Hello. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much. I'm so excited. I'm just so honored with that introduction. I'm like, wow, is that me?
Thank you. Well, you know, I'm excited to have you here. It's always dope and cool when we can connect with our Facebook friends. We've been friends on Facebook for a while. Mm-hmm. And I've met so many cool people on there. And I just love it. I'm excited to have you on the show. I'm excited to hear about your journey. I'm excited for the encouragement that you bring for our listeners and for myself too. So it's not just about me. Like, this is a ministry for me. And I'm just blessed to have you on the show. So the first thing that we do, we either do a this or that, or we do a quirky question. So I think I'm going to do a quirky question.
Oh, shoot.
So if you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, you get to pick three things. What would it be?
Tacos.
Okay.
Hands down tacos. Give me tacos. You said three things? So, yeah. Okay, tacos, Spanish rice, and sweet tea. I have to have my sweet tea.
Okay. What kind of tacos? Shrimp, chicken?
Definitely have to be chicken. Give me some chicken with the pico de gallo all day. I'll take it.
Okay. All right. So, again, welcome to the show. I did a brief intro, but I always like for our guests to brag on themselves. So tell us about yourself. I see you out here killing it. You're hilarious. You're out here killing the hair game and doing so many other things and still being a mom. So just tell us a little bit about your business and why you got started.
Gladly. So I'm Charlisa Chadowboxx Harris, and I have been a hairstylist since I was 16 years old. I actually started going to beauty school whenever I was in the middle college program. And, you know, I always kind of thought I was grown. So I was so excited to be able to have the opportunity to be in high school for half the day. But I was inspired to become a hairstylist whenever I was 6 years old. My dad converted our bathroom into like a mini hair salon. So my mom started out, that was her side hustle. She would bring guests into our home. And, you know, all my sisters, I have, you know, 2 sisters and I have a brother. Everyone else was every other part of the house, but I would always be right there, like right by my mom's feet, watching her doing what she was doing. And I love the transformation. I love how women come feeling a certain type of way and they always leave feeling differently. So I always knew that was like my calling. I was like, that's going to be me one day. So I went to beauty school when I was 16. And I ended up pretty much quitting after I was done. And I ended up going back to beauty school 10 years later, opened up my salon in 2010, whenever my son was 6 weeks old, who was actually my child that's on the autism spectrum. And, you know, I've been open for 12 years. I've been in the beauty industry for 24 years, single mom, 3 kids, you know, 2 of them are adults, you know, so they're almost off my payroll. God is good. And, it also inspired me to start my coaching program, which I started 3 years ago, because I realized that my ministry wasn't to mentor people as far as like hiring stylists, because that creates like a different type of relationship. But I really wanted to pour into up and coming entrepreneurs, especially people in the service industry. So that's who I am.
Okay. So besides your mom, did you have any mentors outside of your family growing up, like any hairstylists that you kind of say, you know what, I want to be like them?
I actually was inspired by my grandmother, who was an entrepreneur in the family. She was the only other entrepreneur. Everyone else, I come from a very hardworking family, but they believe in like what I call the worker bee culture. You get old enough, you go get you a good job, you stay vested, you get good benefits, and then you retire. So they didn't understand entrepreneurship. My grandmother was the only one that was like, yeah, baby, do it. So. And I did have a cousin who I just thought was so fly whenever I was a teenager. And she was actually the reason why I enrolled in the middle college program, because I just saw her. That was back when we was doing like the banana peels and, the ponytails and all of that. So I was like, I'm going to be a fly girl like her. So I've definitely had some really good people to look up to.
Okay. And so for your business coaching program, just tell us a little bit more about that. Like, what exactly do you do? And the type of, I guess, clientele that you have for that program.
Yeah, so I inspire entrepreneurs to go from being passionate to being profitable. What I've found is that there's a lot of entrepreneurs that they are really great with like their skill set. They're great with their hands, for instance, if you're a hairstylist, but they lack the fundamentals of actually running a business. And that's why they would end up getting burnt out. So my the main people that I focus on are particularly mompreneurs, because I feel like we're so used to always having to spin the plates. So I take you from you having something that is your passion, whether it be candle making or, making body essential oils or whatnot, and actually learn how to implement systems into your business in order to make sure that you're making money. So it's about being a booked and balanced entrepreneur. I used to call it, whenever I first launched my program, was booked and busy. And I realized there's really like a lot of toxicity in that, because we like to do the busy work, but we're not balanced. And we end up to where, just like how I was for many years in my business, I was completely overwhelmed because I had so many other things I was doing. So if I was going hard in the salon, then my house was suffering. So I'm teaching you not to be booked and busy. I want you to be in demand, but I don't want you to be killing yourself in order to make the money, So it's about being booked and balanced.
And that is so needed, especially in the hairstylist industry, because when you get out of school, I'm a licensed cosmetologist as well. They don't teach you the business. They pretty much teach you. They don't even really teach you how to do hair, honestly.
They really don't.
Yeah, you learn all that once you get out into the real world, and that's what's missing. A lot of people are killing themselves behind the chair. They don't know how to get from behind the chair. And that kind of leads me into your products. I want to talk a little bit about your products. I see the magic that you're working online with them, the silk presses and everything. And I just want you to tell the audience a little bit about what the products are. What was the idea behind the products?
So I grew up on mane and tail and TCB and soft and beautiful relaxers. And it was only whenever I went to beauty school, whenever I was a teenager, that I realized just like how horrible these products were that we grew up on. So I didn't have the means or really the education at that time to, know how to actually create my product line. So it really came to be after owning my salon and servicing my clients. And I just could not, with any level of integrity, send them to the local beauty supply in order to get something that I felt like would work. So me being the type of person I am, I'm like, if you can't find good help, you do it yourself. So that was the way that the product line started. It actually started from me creating what is now my bestseller, which is the Bow Down Butter. It's an organic butter. And I made it for my son's skin, my son that's on the autism spectrum. Because of his hypersensitivities and his sensory things, he did not care for a lot of the products that were on the market. So I wanted to make something that I knew 100% what it had in it. So I created that. And then I realized, wow, this works amazingly for my clients' hair as well. So, and I really always wanted to make sure that I had the emphasis on making sure that it had quality ingredients and non-toxic ingredients, because I know that that has a lot to do with why our hormonal systems are thrown off and all of that. So from shampoo, conditioner, leave-in conditioners, your styling aids like your edge controls, wax sticks, the hair and body butter. I even have a full men's care line. They're all geared towards, pretty much they were catered to, I had my clientele in mind, and I knew that the needs that they have are not unlike what the needs are across the country. So
yeah, and people don't take that into consideration. A lot of the reading that I've been doing has been about fibroids and cysts in women, and a lot of it seems to be coming from the beauty products that we're using. One of my partners and besties, she is the owner of Go Beautiful Skincare, and her business came out of her having cancer, and couldn't really find products that were carcinogen free and vegan and organic. And a lot of times they say that they are, but they're really not, and they were really affecting her skin. So I think that that's awesome that you were like, listen, I need to do what I got to do for my baby, and it ended up being, a blessing for your business.
right.
What, how do you balance that? I know for me, like being a new mom of, children on the autism spectrum, for me, like I'm freaking out most of the time, every day, just trying to figure out what the heck is going on. What do they want? How can I help them? What do they need? And then still trying to, I had all these businesses running. And now, it was almost like I had to come to a full stop for a moment and breathe. Like, okay, wait a minute. They have extra needs. They have more things that they need from me, and they need more time. How do you find time to balance those things? Are you still a single mom? I know you had you were talking about being a single mom. So how the heck are you doing all these things?
So I schedule my life. I schedule every aspect of my life, all the way to like my naps and my self-care time and my dates that I have with my son. I am a single mom still. My older two children, as I said, they're adults. So they're, out of the house. So I just have the 12-year-old that I do have to manage. But even whenever I had to, manage one child being at football practice and the other one needing to get picked up, I knew how to delegate and schedule. That's my biggest thing. So just like for my son, he needed to get picked up by 3:00. I would still be in the salon. So I hired a nanny. I made sure that I, saw, I'm a real like strategic person. Like I literally sit here with my schedule and I have tons of these. I write everything down. Especially because when you're a creative and you're just a mom, you have so many things that are going on in your head. So my biggest thing in like my own form of self-care, like it first started with journaling, then it became scheduling, to where I'm really diligent about planners. So all the way from like, I pretty much have it mapped out. Like I know the days that I have to create products. I know the days that I have to do fulfillment, which is practically every day. I know the days that he needs me and he needs me just to love on him. So the days that I plan to actually do nothing, I literally plan to do nothing. And those are my days that are just devoted to just letting life be. So I think that's the biggest thing, is like, I realized that was during the time whenever I was talking about being booked and busy too. I didn't have systems in place for me to really strategize my life. And so it would make me overwhelmed, because you have, when you have the to-do list in your mind, you lay down at night, you never feel accomplished, and you always feel like overwhelmed for what is to come the next day. So I just found just writing down ended up being super therapeutic for me, as well as also making sure that I know exactly what I should be doing at what time. And that just has helped. I'm not perfect every day. Let me be clear. I don't master it every day, but at the very least, I have like this sense of accomplishment that at least I kind of had an idea what my days should be. I don't like variables, and I don't really like things that are unpredictable. And my autistic son is actually what helped me with that, because children on the spectrum need they need solid schedules, and they need things to be consistent. So my son, even from starting off to where like he didn't like anything new, including like the shoes. Whenever I would buy him shoes, I had to take them out the box. I had to take the tags off of it. He doesn't like any surprises. So that's what I realized. I had to incorporate that kind of like into my day as well. It's like, okay, we need to know exactly what today is going to bring. So that way his anxiety isn't at an all-time high. And I found that I'm kind of just like him in that regard too. I need to know exactly what's coming, so that way I know how to prepare myself. So he actually really helped me with getting that together, because I'm like, we can't be all over the place and
Yeah.
expect him to flourish, you know?
Yeah, I'm that way too. I have thousands of notebooks and whiteboards and
Mhm.
calendars, and I'm always putting things down. I use my phone a lot now with them because they're kind of like all over the place. So when I have a thought, I make sure I make a note. Um, and you mentioned about boundaries and self care.
Mhm.
What do you do for self care? How do you, find time for yourself? You seem like you have a lot on your plate, so I know you definitely need to take a moment just to woosah.
Right. Well, I meditate. Meditation, I meditate twice a day. So I start my day off with meditation and my affirmations and mantras. And then I always take that time at the end of my day to just really just have, a moment of affirming myself and also having a talk with God. I really, I'm like very spiritually inclined to like, God, I know that without you, I can't do any of this. So I just have those moments to where just the quiet. That's what I realized, because I feel like the rest of my life is so like, especially being a hairstylist, you're so sociable and you're talking so much and you're interacting. So I just needed that time just to completely unplug. I also do make sure that I get my hair done once a week, especially now that I've got this short dude, got this little scoop of hair. So
And it's
I
cute.
gotta make sure.
I like the color, very cute.
Thank you, Mylani blue. So, I make sure that that's planned. And I'll go, once a month to get like my pedicures and, my nails done. But I always emphasize that, a lot of times we think self-care means the things like as far as aesthetically. I realized that I really flourished whenever my self-care became a lot more focused on just my own intimate time with myself. I do my yoni steams. I do my, spiritual baths where, all lights are off and it's just me, that candle, and my thoughts and, water. But it's really just me time is my
Mhm.
self-care, and that's planned. That's the
Okay.
big thing.
I was going to ask you about just as far as your business coaching. The majority of our audience are business owners,
Mhm.
small business owners. Some of them are still working 9 to 5 jobs. You mentioned, scheduling and planning everything. Can you just
Mhm.
give us some tips on maybe some software that you use or some type of automations that they can use so that they can still be productive and be efficient in their business, and not be all over the place?
Absolutely. So first I start with the basic of my Google Calendar. I love my Google Calendar. It keeps track of everything. And most like things like Calendly or Vagaro, which is my CRM system for my clients, it integrates with Google Calendar. So I start off with Google Calendar. For service providers, I would highly suggest Vagaro. That's Vagaro Pro. And that works very well with keeping track of all of my clients, all of my reportings. And that way I know exactly how well I'm doing. And it also will send automatic reminders. And so things are automated whenever it comes to that. You can also send out email blasts. So I send out email blasts typically once or twice a month to my clients to let them know what's going on with scheduling. So Vagaro Pro is one of my faves. I also really, really like to use Klaviyo, which is my email and my SMS system. And I just on Sundays at the beginning of the month, or excuse me, at the end of the month is whenever I go and I plug all of like my emails and my text messages in. So that way it seems like I'm constantly in tune all month, but it's something that I made it a point to do just once a month. I also love Shopify. Shopify is an amazing platform whenever it comes to like your e-commerce, and it has a lot of plugins such as Klaviyo to be able to keep track of like what's going on with your business. And then I also really love Marketing by Monray, and she is amazing whenever it comes to marketing. And she does have an amazing like actual physical planner, and that's what I was showing you here, to where it kind of helps me map out everything, as far as like writing it down first, and then I plug it into my system. So that's whenever I go into Google Calendar, go into Vagaro Plus or Vagaro Pro, excuse me, go into Klaviyo and also into my Shopify, and just pretty much just streamline everything. Oh, and Facebook content creator and Planoli. for scheduling all of my social media content. So I do that as well. I typically, like whenever it comes to my reels, I'll batch create, once or twice a month, and I'll just, change my shirts, beat my face, change my outfits or whatnot. And I highly suggest, if you do use a social media manager such as Planoly, that you let it schedule your content, not auto post for you, because you'll find yourself being shadow banned because it'll think that you're a robot.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you about marketing. I know you said you like Marketing by Monray. I follow her as well.
Yeah.
Part of what we do at Besties Media is we do marketing, we do social media management, scheduling, things like that to help business owners. But I just wanted to hear, how do you market your business? Like, what are some marketing tips you can give to our audience so that they can generate sales? I know a lot of times people pay money and they get fluffed. They feel like they still aren't making the sales. Mm-hmm. They're doing all the reels, they're doing all the TikToks, they're doing all the trends, but they're not actually turning that into real dollars. So if you have some tips on how people can actually turn all of that into sales.
I firmly believe, and that's whenever I was saying that babes don't hustle, we do business. I firmly believe that community is what builds dollars. So, like I say, community is what builds currency. So if a lot of times we're so busy making all of the graphics and we're so busy making all of the reels and things like that, but they're not connecting because, first of all, you haven't identified who the heck you're talking to. So you're making stuff and then your audience isn't even geared towards that. I was surprised with even finding out a long time ago, because I felt overlooked for so long. And a lot of it was that I wasn't connecting with people. I wasn't having conversations. I wasn't actually showing the person behind the brand. So I think that's the biggest thing. Identify, first of all, who you are, what is your niche, and then also identifying who the heck are you talking to and knowing how to talk to them. I also think that content is so important because, and I even teach, like, whenever you're writing your captions, it's like texting your booze. I think that takes a lot of anxiety out of it too, because they're so worried about like sounding professional or whatnot, but you're not sounding relatable. People are like, I don't know. I mean, you just throw out all the details of your products, but I don't care because I don't even know who you are, and what this does for me. And that's not even resonating with me. I also highly suggest just being consistent. Even when you feel like people are not seeing you, it's been many years that I felt completely overlooked on social media, and you will be surprised who's watching. People scroll and don't like. People, lurk a little bit and just kind of want to peek and see if you're still going to show up. I truly believe. And whenever they keep on like, dang, I keep seeing this heifer, then they somehow be like, okay, all right. I think I want to listen to what she has to say. It's interesting. I've had people that have been friends with me online for years and just like started commenting and saying, oh, well, I didn't even know that you had products. But, and I used to get frustrated, like, but hello, I've been out here. I've been in these streets, man, but a lot of it is just being consistent. It eventually will start to connect with the right people, and also stop trying to be for everybody. Mm-hmm. You will never be everybody's people, and everybody's not going to be your people, and be totally okay with that. So just learn how to speak to the right people. The right people are going to show up if you consistently show up for them.
That is so true. People definitely need to see you a couple times before they pull the trigger. And I remember I reached out to this guy. He kept posting about NFTs. So for our show, we don't usually get superstars like you. We usually start off with people who are just starting off. They're not even really making like $1,000 in their business. I mean, that's kind of like the point of the show. And then we bring them back on once they're like, a year later, now they're making six figures. You know what I mean? Right. So that's kind of the idea, because social media is so fake and watered down, and you see people with the Teslas and you think that that's what it is, and that's not really it. And there's some superstars sitting right in our community right next to us, and they're being overlooked because they don't have the so-called influence. So ideally, that's, the people that we bring on our show. But it's this guy I went to school with, and he was talking about NFTs, and I'm like, yo, you should come on the show. Mm-hmm. Talk about NFTs. Like, everybody's talking about it. Let's come on and talk about it. And he was like, you got a show? Now, mind you, I've known this guy since I was 12, pretty much. Okay.
Wow.
And we talk on social media all the time. And I'm like, that just goes to show you either it could just be the algorithm, which we hear about a lot, they just don't see it, or people just don't pay attention. Sometimes you have to like say, hey, I have a podcast and I want you to come on.
Exactly.
I made that same post that I made that you responded to at least 5 times.
Yep. Yeah. And
people are like, oh my God, yes, I'll do it. And it's the same people that I've been friends with for years. So being consistent, like that's definitely, a key to growing your business.
Yeah. And it can be really overwhelming and get frustrating. That's why I feel like mindset, even the first module in my babe camp is mindset, because you have to get mentally prepared to be an entrepreneur, because as you know, it can be a very lonely, frustrating, and it'll mess with your ego a little bit, because you do feel like man, I'm like, it's me, you know what I'm saying? But like other people, you may feel overlooked for a very long time, but that does not change your mission. It doesn't change your dopeness. It just changes your exposure. That's really all it is. Most, like you say, most of us are only like one exposure or influence away from reaching our goals. It does not mean that you weren't always that. It just means that people just didn't know about it. That's it.
Yeah, like that one influence or exposure away. And it's true. All you have to do is meet the right person, be in the right room. That's what our networking group is about. I'm big on networking across, and I'm not trying to reach out to the influencers with, millions and millions of followers. I want that person that's right here next to me, and we're grinding together, and we grow and glow together. Yes. So I love that. So what does BABE stand for? Does it stand for anything?
Yeah, so it stands for Booked and Balanced Entrepreneur.
Love it. Okay.
Yes.
So how can they sign up for that? Where can they find your products? And they can use this code Bestie to get a discount.
Yeah, so for products and for booking, if you are in the Pacific Northwest area, you can reach out to Chadowboxx.com and definitely use code Bestie for 15% off of any of your purchase. And that's on all organic and vegan products. Excuse me, can't talk. But whenever it comes to Babe Camp, you can sign up on CharlisaOutTheBox.com. Maybe we can find a way to like pop it up or something like that. But it's Charlie, because I know people be messing my name up. They be adding them extra S's now. So
I got y'all added.
Yes, but it's Charlisa Out the Box. And I would love to be able to first schedule a discovery call, because I never like to create illusions, or, I'm not a salesy person, but I am about alignment. So I want to make sure that, your vision is in alignment with what it is that I actually can provide and, can create for you. So, but I really love to see, my goal for this year is, helping over 100 people fire their bosses. I think what came from COVID, and, it started with my own family. We are sick of not having, the ability to dictate how our time goes. We're sick of having to make the choice between whether or not we're there for our families, or, or being able to make a living. So I really am trying to get, especially mompreneurs, because I really do feel like we're such an essential part of our households. We're everything. I definitely want to see people get to that place of being able to live well, but also, see your family and love on your family and not make them sacrifice time with you. Because I did that for many years,
So I have one last question for you.
Okay.
If you had a billboard about your life, what would the billboard say?
Keep pushing. Keep pushing. I think I'm the story of, and I was always the hard-headed child. I'm a middle child. So,
Not the middle child.
Oh my God, the middle child. So, I think everything, my life has always been about a push, I would be the one who was pushing sometimes. And, I also felt, like life had its way of always, pushing up against me. I was always pushing against adversity. I was always pushing against, stereotypes and, being a statistic, being as I was a 17-year-old teenage mom, and people had counted me out a long time ago, like, oh, your life is over. You know, I got pregnant after I was done with beauty school the first time. And my main thing in summary is I just kept pushing. Every time that I meet something, I push. So.
Yes. Prove them wrong.
Okay.
Well, it was a pleasure having you on the show. Guys, make sure you go to her website, support her products and services. Make sure you check us out at bestiesbusiness.org. Don't leave. And thank you for joining the show. Bye.
Bye.